up? What up? Welcome to 85 Yards, the show for average sports fans by average sports fans. Bringing the conversation from the bar to your living rooms. Let's raise a glass. Cheers, my brother. How's it going?
Cheers. Good, man. How are you doing?
Good, man. Trying to get through the week. Like I said, on Wednesday at this time of the week, I always need one of these. How about you?
Like I said, just about every day I need about one of these about this time. But we've got a very special show today, as we've got the one and only Jacob Papa Greenway, who has joined us to rebuttal against my SEC sermon last week. But Jacob, welcome to 85 Yards.
Yes,
Pleasure
sir.
to have you.
Ready to be here, Miss Clancy. Last week I was driving. That made me literally sick to my stomach. Luckily, there was a rest area nearby. I pulled over. I thought I was going to throw up, but I just dry heaved a little bit. Then I managed to get back in the car, and now I'm here this week joining you,
Sure wasn't all that
to
did.
answer that debate.
Sure wasn't all that did.
That too.
Yeah.
I've been dipping for 12 years at this point.
Chayton.
It makes me sick occasionally.
The first interaction I had with Jacob was when he first started with us at Postmates, and he was on my team, and he sat down and he put a fat dip in, and I was like, hey, like, just beware, you just hide it, when people come around, because we're not supposed to be doing that, like, on the floor. And he was like, oh, okay. I mean, shit, it's going to be hard, because I dip about 2 cans a day.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, oh, shit, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
well,
just keep it. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Oh man, well, good to have you on, brother. Yeah, I was gonna say, after last week, I've had got more feedback on that show than really any of them from people that definitely agree with your SEC stance, and a lot of some people agreed. There were a lot more on the other side.
Most agree. Most level-headed people agree.
Yeah, it was, the more I thought about it, and well, we'll get into it. We got a whole bit of time for that, man. What are you drinking, Ryan?
So I just finished this. I saw this at Kroger the other day. It's a new Sweetwater IPA. And it's a 420 strain. Like, they did a whole 420 strain of their IPAs and stuff, and just did different ones. Mm-hmm. This is the G13 IPA. So, it's legit. It's about like 7.2%. And then now I'm about to crack open this Voodoo Ranger, which is, remember that episode that we did where I said the advertising got to me?
Mm-hmm.
This is the same.
Same thing, you just
brand,
like a can?
Just a different version.
Ryan's always got the frou-frou, like, oh yeah, this was brewed out of somebody's backyard. It's just a startup. Like, I've got this. Right. I've got this here. I'm drinking a good old Coors, and the mountains are blue here. I actually went camping last weekend and bought a 24 rack. Didn't drink all of it, dude. I wake up so we're roughing it. Like, literally, no one is around. It's super, super deep in Fayetteville, West Virginia. All of a sudden, about 4 a.m, I start hearing what I think are like ambulance sirens. And I look over and roll over to the person I'm like in the campsite with, and they were just like, are those coyotes? And I listened for 10 seconds. I've never heard a coyote before. I know exactly that's what it was. Immediately, my eyes got huge. I was like, that's exactly what that is. So I take off booking to the car. And as I get ready to get into the car, I accidentally hit the panic button, and the entire campground had to listen to meh, 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 meh. Woke everybody up. It was as hell. So I almost died, but I was able to keep the Coors ice cold and was able to bring it back. So that was.
I'm pretty sure.
Important.
I'm pretty sure that I went through Fayetteville, West Virginia last week. I went on a road trip. I drove 3,800 miles last week. Me and a friend of mine, and we drove. We had no plans whatsoever. We just knew we was going on a road trip, and we had set it for Nantucket in Massachusetts, but we never made it that far. And so we ended up going up through Virginia, and we stayed we ate in Roanoke the first night, and then stayed in Winchester, and then drove up, and we went to Philly. Then we went to Atlantic City, which do not go to Atlantic City if you've ever been. It is
I don't
horrible.
think I've ever desired to go to Atlantic City.
It's like a big piece of trash, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, I was expecting like a little small Vegas and like with Gucci shops, Louis Vuitton. Like, no, you're not getting that. Maybe like an Eddie Bauer outlet, but that's about as good as you're getting.
Affliction, like
it's Affliction everywhere.
That's McClincy's stuff there. Affliction,
Suntan City,
and then
Gin
we went
Tan Laundry. It's just it's all
GTL.
It is.
I was expecting it to be a full like Jersey Shore, like see had a bunch of like Guidos and stuff out, and
everybody fist pumping down the street.
Oh yeah,
in Vegas. No, it's just
it's nothing like that. And then New York City is as bad as they say. We ended up driving to New York, and that's my fourth time now, and everything's still closed. Like I wanted to go to the NBA store, and I'm big into shoes, so like Flight Club, and of course like barred up. So there was nothing. People just
so they're not even open.
Oh yeah, it's just basically you're walking in Times Square. It's about 5 to 10% of the people that it usually is,
Jeez.
and people just walking up and down the streets like harassing you. Basically, it's bad. Don't go right now.
Basically, all we have is sports right now. So, well, good stuff, peeps. All right, so let's get into it. So, big stuff, obviously. Ryan, the World Series is starting tonight.
All right.
Starting.
Okay.
In our notes, our production notes for the show,
that it was the World Series was starting tonight. But what I meant was the World Series playoffs were starting. This was last night that I wrote this, but was starting, and I guess it wasn't accurate enough for Jay Booty.
No,
so
it wasn't.
Call me out.
More
I know
importantly,
the World Series isn't starting tonight.
You thought it was opening day. It's okay.
I don't care.
The more important thing to Ryan is that the NBA Finals are starting tonight. So Lakers Heat starting in the bubble. Thought it was pretty interesting. I saw how the schedule was. Looks like it's alternating. And Ryan, what you said, like they're trying really hard to keep it off of like the games tonight, Wednesday, then it's Friday, then it's Sunday night. And then like next week they have a 3-day skip, so they don't have to play on Thursday night football. Like they basically scheduled everything to, it looks like to schedule around football. But Lakers Heat, just I guess some general thoughts about what you expect to see in the series.
Well, I'm gonna let Papa Greenway go ahead and give his opinion first.
As you know, McClincy, I'm not the biggest LeBron James supporter in the world. Of course, I do think LeBron James, he is a good basketball player, and he may be even the best basketball player currently playing right now, but he will never be Michael Jordan. And also, I listened to your podcast that you had a couple of weeks ago about your top players and McClincy, again, with me wanting to throw up driving the vehicle. I don't know what, I need to just stop listening to this podcast while driving. It's a hazard.
That's how you know it works.
That's your health.
But Kevin Durant is the best player in the world currently.
No.
LeBron James is the best player playing right now, but that is because Kevin Durant is sitting at home. And without an injury last year, Kevin Durant would now be a 3-time back-to-back Finals MVP. But that's off topic. We're talking about the Heat and the Heat and the Lakers. I want to pick the Heat, like I really do.
I do too.
But we know that that's not gonna happen.
You gotta pick between your heart and your head.
I mean, I'm going with my head. My heart says Heat. My head says the Lakers. I think Miami will win 2 games just to do a little bit more than some of the other teams have, and like they'll fight and take it down to the wire, and you'll never know how LeBron plays in that last 2 minutes. That's the crucial part for LeBron. He has known to turn the ball over. He has been known to miss important last-second shots. But in all, I think that Anthony Davis will really be the MVP of the series and take it home and get LeBron his 4th title, 4 out of 7 now.
Yeah, I was going to say he's won 4, and I think he's been there like 15 times or something like that. So, kind of by attrition, you would hope he'd win 4. The exercise that I always do when I look at this series and really kind of break it down, he's been...
Relax.
He's been... 10. I'm so off with 15. So the exercise I always try to do is, okay, so if we were playground style, rolling the balls out, and it was, you have 2 captains and they're picking teams. how would this go? And my argument has been, yeah, LeBron and AD would be the first two. If you took both the rosters and stacked them up, it's LeBron and AD. How many people do you go through on the Heat's roster before you get to the third Laker that you would pick? And when you start looking and naming, I'm like, okay, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Goran Dragic, Tyler Hero, probably Duncan Robinson and Jay Crowder before I'm taking Kuzma or Rondo. Like that's I'm probably taking
not Jay Crowder.
Maybe not Jay Crowder, but there's 5 for sure. I would take Duncan Robinson before I would take Kyle Kuzma. So that's as far as like a team. This just really reminds me whenever the Lakers had like Kobe, Shaq, Malone, and Peyton, and they ran into a better team with the Detroit Pistons with Billups, Rip Hamilton, the Wallaces, and Prince. And everybody thought they were just going to roll over them, and they played team basketball and beat them in 5 games. The only game that they lost was when Kobe had 50. So, whenever I look at that, like on paper, I think people are really I think it's going 7. I'm gonna call it now, and I'll make my game 7 pick when we get to that point because it's going 7.
If it goes 7 games, then the Miami Heat will win because it's going to be the case of 2011 and the biggest collapse in NBA history and the biggest meltdown.
Yes,
when LeBron was up 3-1 against the Dallas Mavericks, and what happened in games 4, 5, 6, McClincy?
Yeah, what happened, Ryan?
Look, they lost.
Turnovers.
Okay, it happened. All right.
He averaged about 3 turnovers in the last minute per game. Like I'm sure that ain't right, but it was a lot.
This is just a nice foreshadowing for your rebuttal to me later. But just like an SEC fan, just calling on the one moments that they need to make their point without any call to the times in between. Like the block against the Warriors to seal that series, right? That's a key moment. That's a clutch moment.
That was a pretty big moment.
The Bleacher Report has LeBron James as the most clutch player of all time.
Oh, my God.
Got Michael Jordan at 3. Now, I'm not saying
I'm about to throw up, Jacob.
Okay?
But I've already got my trash can over here. I got my trash can.
I'm not saying that he is, okay? I'm not saying he's the best player of all time. I still think that's Michael Jordan. Okay, I have never once, Chayton, you know that I have never once said that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan, have I?
I don't recall. No, you haven't.
Thank you. So
I'm still thinking. I think I've heard you say it.
He is still the best player in the NBA right now.
Ooh.
Still the best player in the NBA right now. You even said so yourself, Jacob. He is the best player currently playing, right?
Currently playing, yeah, but that excludes Kevin Durant, of course, who's in Brooklyn, healing up for next year.
Right. Coincidentally, on that list, Kevin Durant's 14th, but I digress.
Well, yeah, because he's not playing this year. Of course, they forget about people that's not playing.
So we're talking all time on this list here. But
Kevin Durant still got extra years that LeBron will have.
I agree that the Heat from top to bottom, yes, I would pick after LeBron and AD, I would pick probably minimum 3, if not 4 Heat players before I would pick the next Laker. But you can't deny that the Lakers... What?
Keep going. Yeah,
you're just mouthing words to me.
Yeah.
You can't deny how well a lot of the role players for the Lakers have been playing. And even so, LeBron, yes. Does he have his moments where he struggles in clutch moments at the end of games? Yes. Does he also have those same moments where he dominates in the final 2 minutes of a game?
Rarely.
Yes.
Rarely.
Get the fuck out of here.
Rare.
He's good at. I will give LeBron credit. He is the best. He is the best passer on the last possession, like when he's trying to get rid of the ball and avoid the free throw line, and he's trying to kick it to Kyle Korver or George Hill or whoever he used to pass it to.
I'm sorry. So do you want him to Kobe Bryant and just shoot over 3 people all the time? Constantly,
that's what a G does.
Regardless of whether it actually goes in or not.
Kobe got that jury.
Yeah, Kobe always had the drip. He was always looking to go for the game winner.
I told Chayton, LeBron wins this year, he's going out with 6.
Ryan on this podcast, it was one of our first couple. Ryan said that if LeBron wins this year, he's three-peating. He's winning 6.
Yep.
I couldn't disagree more with that.
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
My
I'm
face
fucking
too.
shocked. Fucking shocked.
AD's leaving after this year, so
okay, he wins a championship and he's gonna leave.
Y'all should have kept Brandon Ingram
I don't think
because
he's leaving.
Kyle
I wish we
Kuzma
would
is not that dude.
I wish we would have Kyle
Because you
Kuzma.
remember
That would have made more sense.
the Pelicans wanted Kuzma
couldn't,
instead of
though.
Ingram. The Pelicans wanted Kuzma instead of Ingram, and they settled for Ingram.
They settled for it. I know we didn't want him because we didn't think he could shoot. We thought Kuzma's good, and then boy, were we wrong.
I mean, granted, at the time, Kuzma was playing better than Ingram.
He was. He definitely was.
He was.
So, all right, predictions. So I said, kind of wrapping up our NBA talk, I said it's going to 7. I'll make it on a later podcast. Ryan, prediction.
My prediction?
Yes.
What was Jacob's prediction?
6. And
he said 6.
Games,
Yeah.
Lakers and
6
6.
games. Okay.
He said they'll get 2.
I'm going to go Lakers in 5.
Ooh, the disrespect. 5?
Miami has to win one of these first 2. If they don't win one of these first 2, they might get swept too.
I don't think they'll get swept.
That's going to be tough.
Like, I think if they have to win one of the first 2 to have it go to 6.
See,
I don't win one of the first 2.
The math, yes, they would have to win.
See, I
have to win one to get to 6.
I don't think Miami's a better team than like
one of the first 2.
Denver.
You could win 3 or 4.
Hell, you
could win 3 and 4 and get to 6. Could you not?
You ain't first, you're last. Oh, Ricky, I was high when I said that.
No, Ricky, I was high when I said that, Ricky.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so
You can be second, third. Hell, you can even be fourth. Or fifth. It was fifth. Hell, you can even be fifth.
You can be fourth? Hell, you can be fourth. Oh my God. Okay. So kind of moving along as what we had said, Doc Rivers got canned, from the collapse. I just don't think that you can. That team was way too talented. And, we heard all year, game in and game out, Kawhi with this load management, and people are like, oh, we'll get it together. It's fine, etc. And then they lose, and then they talk about chemistry being the reason that they lost. Well, you know how you get chemistry on the court? You play together. And the Clippers didn't even play with their same starting 5 that they took in the playoffs. They played like 20 games together, what I was looking up this morning. And just that is on the players, Kawhi wanting to take games off. Me and Ryan kind of saw it too. Doc Rivers, whenever it came down to what's Doc Rivers really done outside of that title when he had Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce?
Yeah.
What's Doc Rivers done?
I was going to say, Nostradamus over here just throwing Doc under the bus. What was it, last week or the week before?
I was shitting on him.
And now it's like, okay, it actually fucking happened.
Yeah, it actually, yeah. I didn't think they'd can him that quick, but they saw what I did. So, what are your thoughts on it, Jacob? Is he the man to take to, was it the coaching? Was it the players? What was the reason with the Clippers' demise?
Him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or the Spurs or Mavericks, whomever. And then with that Celtics team, he should have won more than one championship. He won that the first year. I'm pretty sure that they did that and put that them 3 players together. And other than that, he got killed by Kobe and them. They didn't even make the finals really, because the Orlando Magic made it that year with Dwight and Hito Turkoglu, Rashard Lewis, and then Doc Rivers. The people want to think that he's the savior, but what's he done? He's not accomplished anything.
I think he commands respect, but I don't think that just commanding respect makes him a good coach. I think he should have done a lot more with what he's had over the years, which hurts his legacy ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, it's kind of all right, you've seen everything that you've needed to see with superstar teams. So we're going to take, one of the last few years we have with this duo and this roster, because I agree, Jacob, like, I mean, top to bottom, like, that's one of the best rosters, if not the best in the league. But you're not getting rid of Kawhi. You're not getting rid of Paul George right. And going to be better next year. You're just fucking not. You know, you're not going to get rid of that supporting cast because, I mean, it's the best supporting cast in.
Yeah, it's the best bench. They had two candidates for the 60 man of the year.
You're just not. So you keep all of that intact. So then what's left? You get rid of Doc Rivers and you try and bring somebody in that can actually get that team to play cohesively and implement a system that is going to make everybody better equipped to be successful.
I have you a point.
Who is that?
I have you a point. Who would you rather have for a coach, like long term? Doc Rivers, which is respected as like one of the top like 3 coaches in the NBA, or Eric Spoelstra. They were both kind of given the same thing, like given the same opportunity. They both had those top 3 players, and look what they've accomplished since. LeBron and that Heat team, like they won titles. Eric Spoelstra has his team right now currently in the NBA Finals with no real superstar. Jimmy Butler's a star, but he's no real superstar.
Right. Dude, part of me, back when Spoelstra was named head coach, like I hated it.
Oh, people hated it.
I never thought he was
ridiculed,
worth fucking anything without like LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. Like I was like, all right, after they all leave, he's gonna just be kind of the middle of the pack, low end coach. But I mean, shit, he's got it done. Like,
he's in the playoffs every year too, pretty much, like with bad teams.
Yeah, Doc has had way better fucking teams.
Not even close.
And has done way less.
Oh yeah, give Eric Spoelstra that Clippers team with Chris Paul and them. Like, they're at least making it to the finals.
Yeah, I would.
Because like he's hard nosed. Like I guess Doc just is lollydaisical about stuff and kind of just.
He's a player's coach. He definitely. I think I think he just is one of those roll the balls out at practice. Like wants everybody to be like in high spirits and stuff. He reminds me a lot of like Mike Tomlin and like Pete Carroll that are like like hey,
shoot, Tomlin would be hard on you. I feel.
See, well, especially if they're not having the success. And that was the problem. Like, you could kind of see the writing on the wall whenever a bum ankle Luka Doncic is like pushing that series to 6 games. Like, who else do they have by Luka?
The Mavericks had no reason to be in that series the way that they were.
No. They could have got one. It was the game that Luka went nuts in overtime. Yep. Okay, you lose that game. And that was his best shot. They should have been 5, and they really had them on the ropes. So, good stuff, peeps. So kind of swinging over into college football here. So I'm looking at our production notes here, and I'm cracking up.
First weekend of SEC football.
We know that Ryan's love for the SEC. It just says SEC started back. LSU loses.
Like, we got to talk about at least LSU losing, though. That's one of the highlights of the weekend.
I had to throw that in.
You can't talk about college football and not talk about the defending champions losing their first game at home.
Oh, I agree.
To Mississippi State, giving up 623 yards.
Ooh, he's coming with the numbers today.
I want to make a note on what you said. Did you say the national champion LSU?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you were aware.
Okay.
He did.
But they did
continue.
In fact win.
I was just making sure I could hear you right. Okay. Yeah. So they did win the national title last year.
Yeah. I wasn't like asleep last year. I'm aware that LSU won the national championship. Okay. We'll get into all this.
So they beat the team that beat y'all is what Okay. Just clearing that up.
We'll get into all this later.
So I see the other poignant note in here is that, the Big 12, holy shit. So Texas, takes Texas to overtime to get out of there. I saw Texas was down like 14 in the 4th, but obviously, the big ones, Oklahoma and Spencer Rattler, get taken down. Is it finally over? Is Lincoln Riley are they going to be normal now? They've just been replacing quarterback after quarterback lately.
I don't think it's over. Like, I mean, I still think they'll be good. They still could very well win the Big 12. Like, they beat Texas. I mean, they don't really have much else on their roster. I think you look at it and you say, okay, again, what's the knock on every team in the Big 12 as to why they get fucking blown out when they get to the playoff is they have no defense.
Mm-mm.
And like,
they don't.
Oklahoma still has no fucking defense. Like Alex Grinch, he needs to probably go. Like he is not the fucking the change that they needed on defense to make that team take the next step. I think Spencer Rattler's still good. I mean, you look at his numbers, like offensively, they're still an elite offensive team. So I don't think it's necessarily over for them, but they got to figure some shit out.
The turnovers killed him. The turnovers killed him. They had 4 turnovers to none. Kansas State played a really conservative game. And like you said, they don't have a defense, but they lost by 3. But I mean, Spencer Rattler can't throw 3 picks. I mean, that's, you know, you're not going to win many games in conference. And that's basically all we have is conference games now. You're not going to win those games playing like that. So, but yeah, I agree. They're probably, there's nobody else really there.
I don't think they get anyone in.
Oak State, playoff. Maybe if they went out. Texas, if they went out, maybe, but that'd be Oklahoma was their best shot.
Even then, the best team you beat is Oklahoma with that would wind up being a 2-loss Oklahoma team, or 2 or 3 loss Oklahoma team with a bad loss to Kansas State, and they would also assume that they would have to go undefeated, like Oklahoma State or Texas would have to go undefeated, and even then, I think a 1-loss SEC team would get in over him.
That committee, though, they love Oklahoma and Notre Dame. So y'all can go ahead and make a note that Notre Dame will be in that Final Four this year because they play nobody, of course. I'm sure per usual.
Clemson's going to beat them.
Do they play Clemson?
They would play them in the title. They'd play them in the title game. My question is, Jacob, to this. So you've heard Ryan say that the Big 12's not getting anybody in. Pac-12's probably going to start too late to be considered for the playoff. Maybe they do, and maybe they potentially get Oregon. But if the Power Five, I was going to say, if the Big Ten gets 1, if the SEC gets 1, but nobody's coming from the Big 12, probably not the Pac-10, does that mean the 2 SEC teams are going to? Is it going to pave a way for 2 SEC teams to get in?
That's how it always is.
Look how it works every fucking
Georgia
year,
versus Alabama in the national title, LSU versus Alabama in the national title. When you have. I mean, some years we could put 4 in there. Like all 4 teams could be SEC teams. 3, you can throw Clemson in there.
4. Oh my God. Ryan just left the building. Ryan just left.
There he's back.
Ryan's going to have an aneurysm. Oh my God.
I saw a fucking post that had 2 ACC teams and 2 SEC teams in it, and I about had an aneurysm, but it was not even as bad as what Jacob just said to me.
Smart fella. I probably need to follow him. Who posted that?
What's his handle?
He seems objective. He seems objective about it.
I don't even want
to. Kind of like me.
I don't even want to I want to get into this. I want to hear this rebuttal. I want to hear the gloves. We need to take a quick break for that.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break. All you need to know about the headlines from opening weekend for the SEC was that LSU, yes, Jacob, the returning champs, LSU lost, got steamrolled by a mediocre Mississippi State team. Georgia looked rough in the first half.
First half. Yeah, and then they ended up winning by like 30.
They were down by 2 in the first half to
what did they win by? What did they win by?
They won by a lot. Don't get me wrong.
Hot dubs and hot ales.
The thing that I took away from this weekend from the SEC is that Alabama is still the cream of the crop, and they're going to fucking steamroll fucking everybody.
Color me shocked.
Yeah. Right. I know we love talking picks really quick. I'm going to tell you right now, Alabama minus 17. That's a lock. They're going to kill Texas A&M this weekend. Yeah. It's not even close.
Oh, yeah. Texas I still have minus.
You never know which Texas A&M you're going to get. You're either going to get like really good 2014 Texas A&M, or you're going to get just meh 2008.
I've heard Kellen Mond is supposed to be good for like the 8 years he's been in school. So like I'm selling the stock. I'm selling Jimbo Fisher.
How is Jared Garantano still the quarterback for the Vols? Because I could have swore he came in like 2010 and like it's now 2020. Like is he doing like getting his doctrine and is just being like red shirted constant? Like I don't really know.
There's so many people that I think that same exact fucking thing for, because it's like it was Travis Etienne.
Yes.
Like this was like when we started recording shit, it was just like Chayton and I just like figuring shit out. I told him that Travis Etienne was coming back, had announced that he was coming back, and Chayton, I think, had no clue that he was even eligible to come back.
I didn't think he could. I was like, no, he's been there like 7 years, right?
7 years, yeah.
I remember saying, I was like, yeah, Travis Etienne. Here's my question. Why is he coming back? Like, he had a great year. Like,
dude, that running back draft class was really deep, though.
I mean,
he would have still been probably in the top 5 in that running back class, but he's got a chance to be the first running back taken.
Chuba Hubbard
in this first or second.
Yeah,
he's got the chance to be the first or second running back taken in this class. So like that's a big increase in money in first or second round versus third, fourth round.
It's the truth. Yeah, that's a good point. Point is, Travis Etienne, I'm sick of you. All right, we'll take a quick break.
Break time.
Yes,
we'll be back. We'll be back with Jacob's reply to my SEC sermon. Can't wait to hear this shit.
I'm coming for you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is I, Jacob. I am back this week. And as if you remember the podcast that these guys did last week, they talked about the Big Ten versus the SEC. And of course...
No. First off, it was not Big Ten versus the SEC.
The Big Ten versus
it basically
the
was
SEC.
the Big Ten versus the SEC.
It
turned into that. It turned into that, okay?
I'll be Chris, the moderator. Ryan, please, Mr. Trump, give him time.
I'm putting it out there.
It wasn't that. Oh, it turned into that. It turned into that.
I'm putting it out there.
Okay, yeah.
I'm putting it out there. My point was not about Big Ten versus SEC. It was the ineptitude of the SEC fan base.
Kind of was.
Ahead.
May I go, Mr. President?
You may.
As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, I did take some notes and looked up some prior records. And I know McClincy being an Ohio State fan, and they date back to the 1930s playing football. But I'm not going back that far. Who lives in fairy tale land like some people do? Buckeyes fans. You know what a Buckeye is? Urban Dictionary, what a popping a Buckeye is. But I digress. The Big Ten. Since 1998, they are 36-50 against the SEC. Since 2010, they are 18-30 against the SEC. Doesn't sound like good statistics to me. If we was going by playoff records, doesn't look like they would be making it. All time, the Big Ten is 71-87 in bowl games. The Big Ten is 26-37 in bowl games against the SEC. In the bowl games against the ACC, they are 13-12. Against the Pac-12, 19-20. And against the Big 12, who y'all just crapped on a few moments ago, they're 12-18. Who would have thought the Big Ten is 12-18 against the Big 12 in bowl games since 1998? Ohio State, McClinton, since you wanted to break it down just by Ohio State. In bowl games, Ohio State is 0-3 against the ACC. They are 3-1 against the Big 12. That's good. So that they probably got the majority of y'all's wins for the Big Ten. For the Pac-12, y'all are even 4-0. So congratulations on beating Washington a couple of years ago.
Fucking Oregon.
There you go.
Oregon.
Yeah, what a feat there. But against the SEC, you're 2-5. Huh? Who would have thought that? Not I. What about you, McClincy? Would you have thought that? It's my turn. I'm still talking. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah. I was going to give you the floor. I was going to react, but then I was like, he's probably still not done. So go ahead.
Oh, I got a page and a half. I'm just now getting started.
I'm just waiting.
The notable losses that y'all have in bowl games. You can probably remember this one recently against Clemson in 2019. Y'all lost in 2016 to Clemson again, 31-0. Yeah, like Notre Dame out there playing Alabama that year. They shouldn't even put y'all in there. Clemson again in 2014. Goodness gracious, y'all can't beat Clemson.
I fucking hate Clemson.
This one right here stifled me. In 2012, y'all lost to Florida. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't think y'all thought Florida was that great of a football team.
They're not.
Well, they were in 2012.
Wasn't that?
Then listen to this. This is where it really gets funny. In 2007 to 2009, they lost 3 in a row to Texas, Florida, and LSU. So they lost again to Florida, and by golly, they lost to LSU as well. And I'll even give y'all, and this is just recently. I mean, this is just in the past 15 years. And I'll even give an honorable mention to South Carolina, who beat y'all twice in the early 2000s. And so in all, since 1999, Ohio State is 10-9 in bowl games. That is not great, McClincy. That is not great at all. Now, you ready for us to go to the SEC, the powerhouse? We are 31-20 against the ACC. That's pretty good. We are 33-16 against the Big 12. We're 33-16 against the Big 12. Y'all are 12-18 against the Big 12. Okay. Again, Big 10's better. We're 2-0 against Pac-12. That's fine. They rarely have a team that really makes it that far. Against the Big 10, we are 37-26. And all SEC is 106-72 in bowl games. Since 2000, the SEC has, McClincy, you want to just take a wild guess how many titles the SEC has since 2011 or 2000? Since 2000.
They got a few. They got a handful.
Oh, we have 11. A few is 3 or more. We have 11.
11 would be more than 3, so that's still a few.
I said SEC math. It's okay.
Yeah. So yeah. University of Mississippi Math Department. The ACC, they are second in that time frame. They have 4 national titles with Miami, Florida State, and Ohio State. So they got 3 separate teams that's won the national title since 2000. Clemson, whatever I said.
You said Ohio State, so that's okay.
Gross. Big 10, they have 2, which granted, they were both Ohio State, so congratulations there. And all others combined have 4. So the Oklahomas of the world, the Texases of the world. Since 2006, the SEC has 10 of the 14 national championships that's taken place. So they've won the national title every year but 4 years since 2006. And we've won 7 in a row from 2006 to 2012. That's kind of serious right there, McClincy, is it not? I would think so, just looking at my eye test. But I'll continue. And then since 2008, 4 different teams have won titles from the SEC. So in the past 12 years, 4 different teams have won titles. Florida, LSU, Alabama, and Auburn. Just a side note, besides Ohio State, McClincy, who has been anywhere near a championship since 2008?
All right, President Trump, go.
They got rolled, but they went to the playoffs.
Okay. I thought this was a fun fact. I'm a big Vols fan, people, too, so this is our year. We're undefeated this year and definitely going to win the title per most Vols fans. But this fun fact, this really threw me for a loop, McClincy. You won't believe this. This is just the darndest thing here. But the Tennessee Vols are 6-1 against the Big 10. Now, all 3 of us could agree that Tennessee Vols aren't that good of a football team and haven't really been since 96 or
Manning,
whenever.
T. Martin.
Yeah. They're about like McClincy. They live in La La Land. Since 2008, the Vols are 5-0 in bowl games, and their last 4 wins in those bowl games were all against Big 10 teams. And now I know McClincy, he's going to get on me for...
I was going to say, I want to hear this rebuttal.
Stick with your team. Be an Ole Miss fan. I am an Ole Miss fan, and when have I ever said that they're going to win the national championship? I've never once, since you've known me, come in and say that we're going to win.
I'm really glad that you just made that point.
I'm okay.
But Ryan is seething. For those of our audience who can't see right now, Ryan is. I've never seen him this pissed
since 1998. So in this time frame, like I'm not going far back, like I said, in the 30s, like McClincy will be trying to bring up in the 60s and stuff like that.
He's got a sermon.
Since 1998, Ole Miss is 9-2 in bowl games. For us to be horrible, that's pretty good. I would take that. We lost to TCU, if you remember, several years back, and I'll make a note, TCU should have been in the national championship.
That was the year they had Boykin, wasn't it?
Boykin and all that, and they were really good because they dominated us. I was at that game in Atlanta. We lost like 43-13 or something. It was horrible. And we also lost to West Virginia in the year 2000. Right. So if we have to go back that far, that's fine. But we are 1-0 against the Big Ten. We beat Nebraska like in 06 or something. And in closing, and I would really like McClincy to hear this. This is where I'm going to get him right here. In closing, since the 1970s, we're going to go back a little bit further just to get the bigger picture of things. Since the 1970s, Ohio State is 3-11-1 against the SEC. Since the 1990s, Ohio State is 2-8 against the SEC. So in total, since they've really been playing each other, Ohio State is 5-19-1, and that one of those 5 wins that they did get, McClincy's going to hang his hat on, was against Alabama. Congratulations. You won 1 national title in the past 15 years. Alabama has 5. McClincy, I now turn it over to you.
Damn. Well,
there ain't really much he can say now.
So, I know this may be difficult for you, Jacob, being an SEC fan, and I know this is going to be a hard thing for me to try and do, because as an SEC fan, you're stuck in your ways, and any opinion that really is different than yours is just wrong. It's ignorant, and
I couldn't have said it better myself.
You're just going to fall back on the SEC, right? I'm going to reiterate, okay, that my point
War Eagle
in last week's episode had zero to do with Big Ten specifically versus the SEC. My point
that ain't what we said earlier.
No, listen, this is my turn. This is my turn. All right?
President Trump.
Now, did I use Ohio State as a reference in there? Yes, I did. But I used it in a reference of saying that SEC fans fail to recognize when a team outside of the SEC is actually good. Correct? That was my point. You can go back and re-listen, and actually understand the point that I was trying to make.
But I acknowledge when teams are good. Like last year, I came and told you multiple times I was nervous. Ohio State might win it this year, McClincy. It's making me nervous.
That was in December, because prior to that, you kept telling me every single week that we were going to get beat. Or that if we were in the SEC, we would get beat. Or blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, if you had to play an SEC schedule, y'all would have 4 losses every single year, which is fucking asinine.
That's wrong.
Fucking asinine. That's wrong. Okay?
That sounds truthful.
Now, that was my point, okay? My point was SEC fans fail to recognize that teams from other conferences can actually be good, okay? Since you only want to focus on bowl records, which is totally fine, totally understand that. But as we all know, based on the SEC rhetoric, that if a team doesn't want to be there, then is it really a loss? They wanted to be somewhere else.
I don't understand your question.
The SEC, when they lose a bowl game, is it because they are the worst team, or is it because they just didn't want to be there? Because in my experience, it's always because the team didn't want to be there. They wanted to play for a better bowl game because that's what they expect. Because, hey, they're the SEC.
Sometimes that's the case. I agree with.
But if they win they're the far superior team. Far and away, because they're the SEC, they were just better. They were better. But if they lose, which, yes, is that record poor against the SEC for most conferences? Absolutely. I also said in last week's episode, if you were not paying attention, clearly, that the SEC is the best conference in football. They were better than the Big Ten. They are better than the Big Ten. They are better than the ACC. They are better than the Big 12 and the Pac-12. They're better than every other conference. Yes. Top to bottom, absolutely. So, yeah, they should have a winning record against other conferences. But, I'm sorry, there were 18 and 30, right? There were 18 wins for the Big Ten, right?
Yeah, something like that. I have to go back and look at my notes.
18 times another team was actually better than an SEC team, right? So a team can actually be better than an SEC team? Holy shit. I never would have fucking thought.
I never said that. We have some teams. We have some teams that aren't that great. Y'all have some teams that aren't that great, but y'all have teams that can beat us, and we have teams that can beat you.
But that was my point, is that most SEC fans like yourself don't acknowledge that. When it's a head-to-head thing, there is no, hey, this team actually is a better team than us. I'm afraid that they might beat us, right? It's, oh, no, they don't stand a chance. We're the SEC. They haven't played the likes of Alabama and blah, blah, blah.
What usually happens, like when we play Oklahoma or we play Notre Dame or whomever, Clemson
what
and
happened
us
when
is
Minnesota
back and
played
forth.
Auburn?
I mean, what happened when Florida played Michigan?
What happened when Wisconsin played LSU?
What happened when LSU won that national title last year?
Good for them.
What was
they
Ohio
deserved
State?
it because they had a fucking monster year. They had the best year of any college football team in history. So absolutely, they should have won. If we had beaten Clemson, I do not think we would have beaten LSU. I will come out and I will say that. I've said it since the beginning. I don't think any team was beating LSU last year.
I mean, I think Ohio State would have probably beat Alabama last year. Like I agree with that. I'm objective as they come,
so
McClincy.
You say that now, Jacob, but I very much remember prior to Tua fucking dislocating his hip or whatever the hell he did. You were on very much on the LSU and the Alabama train.
Again, to what Chayton said the other day, if the SEC, like that's we play each other all during the year. When it comes to bowl season and we're playing people outside of their bowl, when we're playing, say, Florida's playing Michigan, I want Florida to beat Michigan. If if Ole Miss is playing the Miami Hurricanes, like I'm going to be for Ole Miss.
I agree.
The only team I won't cheer for is the Tennessee Volunteers and the Mississippi State Bulldogs, similar to how his perception was with like Michigan.
That's great. But let me ask you this: what does it change next year when your team still has to go and they've got to play the schedule in front of them? They've got to play the same teams. I don't root for teams in the conference. If they win, great, excellent. That makes our conference look better. But I'm not rooting for them because ultimately I don't care. The only team I care about winning is the team that I actually root for. I'm not rooting for them. If they win, great. If not, great. I don't really have a dog in the fight because I know that it's not going to make a difference. If Ohio State comes back next year, takes care of business, wins all of the games, then they'll be in the conversation. That's all you got to worry about because I can't control who I play every single fucking year.
But you also think that Michigan, y'all in Penn State and whomever is better than LSU in a given year or Auburn.
I said they can be, yes. Yeah. And SEC fans do not think that. That was my point.
Also,
in the sermon.
I got to make another one, McClincy, that's really going to light a fire under you.
Let me just finish with this. Let me just finish with a couple things here, okay? So
I don't think you want to finish with it.
Oh, you want to hear this. So I don't know if you are aware that over the last 10 years, because let's be honest, 20 years ago, football was very different. Okay, 10 years ago, football was very different. If we're being really completely honest, we should only be looking at the last 4 or 5 years when we talk about our teams actually fucking good. Okay? 10 years ago, I'm willing to break on that. I'm going to go back to 2010. Okay?
Perfect.
Over the last 10 years, the Big Ten has had 36 teams with 10-plus wins. The SEC has had 40 teams with 10-plus wins. That's pretty close. Those are pretty good teams. Now, in the same span...
But you also have to think that we play like Florida State and stuff like that, and Chick-fil-A kickoffs where y'all are playing Jackson
We
State.
play SEC teams in kickoffs.
Now, when was the last time y'all played an SEC team?
We didn't, but I'm saying the Big Ten did.
Exactly.
We played, I don't know, fucking USC back when they were still ranked in the top 10.
2006.
We were going to play Oregon this
I thought
year.
it was going back to. It was going back to 2010.
That was not 2006. Anyways, also,
hey,
yeah,
I'm ordering food. No, I love this.
Perfect. Also, the Big Ten, of the 36 teams that had 10-plus wins, we also had 43 teams that were ranked in the final AP poll. The SEC, over that same span, of the 40 teams that y'all had with 10-plus wins, had 57. Now, that's a big difference, right? Because the SEC had 18 teams ranked with 4-plus losses, whereas the Big Ten had 9. So y'all are just getting people ranked with 5 losses, which is just absurd.
Shoot,
to me.
powerhouse. You got to go through the best to get through the best.
Okay, let's calm down on that front. But also, if you break down the numbers, the win and loss records over the last 10 years versus AP ranked opponents, so opponents ranked in the top 25 of the AP Associated Press, the Big Ten is 31.8% win percentage. What do you think the SEC is?
First, you're using too many numbers. I don't really understand the question.
This SEC math.
Okay. So
again, McClincy, University of Mississippi.
Here we go. The Big Ten wins 31.8% of games they play versus AP ranked opponents. What do you think the SEC number is?
Shoot. We play a ranked person every week, so I'd say
31.4. 31.4. So the Big Ten is actually a little bit more efficient, and also the SEC plays just under one more AP ranked game than the Big Ten does year in, year out per team.
Sounds like a lot to me.
The Big Ten has also played more games against AP top 5 or AP top 25 opponents in 4 of the last 5 years compared to the SEC. So, must be difficult.
They're serious there.
The schedules are very much the same. And actually, the Big Ten is more efficient in games against top-ranked opponents. You want to talk about bowl games, that's great, but let's not just stop at bowl games. Let's talk about every game that we play and y'all play against ranked opponents, okay? The SEC, my point last week, again, was that the SEC fails to recognize that teams from other conferences like the Big Ten can actually be successful against top-ranked teams like the teams from the SEC. Year in, year out, that difference between the SEC and the Big Ten is much closer than the SEC fans give it credit for. Because SEC pride, and we're going to root for everybody in the SEC, and even though only 3 other teams have won 1 championship in the last 20 years and Alabama's won 6, we're going to say SEC pride because Alabama holds it fucking down because they are so far and away better than every other team in the SEC that even if one team wins another championship, it's because the SEC is just dominant. When in reality, Alabama's fucking dominant. Clemson's dominant.
I got to make
Ohio State is
Chayton,
dominant.
I got to make one last point, and then I'm going to kick it to you. I'm just going to let McClincy.
You're good. This is amazing.
He's going to. I'm going to let him think on this one for next week. Before though, y'all come hollering at the SEC about dominance and stuff like that. Just make sure your conference is number 2, because currently the ACC is number 2.
False.
Big Ten number 3.
They've got a really good ringer at the top.
Who's the second best team in the fucking ACC?
Just the past 10, if we're doing past 10 years, we got Florida State and we have Clemson, who has won 2, and Florida State's won 3.
Won 1, and what has Florida State done this year?
Florida State's trash. Yeah, they're bad.
I mean, Florida State ain't...
Do not even give me shit about Florida State. They're not the second best conference because Florida State is dog trash.
Miami? Miami's like number 7
all time.
Miami went 10-0 and then lost like fucking the last 6 games.
Yeah, they're not.
When y'all can win a couple more championships, and then y'all can overtake number 2, and then when y'all win another 15, then you can come. I'll talk to you in 20. I'll talk to you in 2049.
Oh my God. Closing arguments and points, real quick. 30 seconds each person. Ryan, since Jacob went first last time, you can go. Just 30 seconds. Sum it all up, real quick. I'll be the moderator.
SEC fans have very limited worldview about teams from other conferences, very little worldview about teams outside of the own scope of their own thoughts. My point originally, and my point still to this day, is that the SEC, yes, is the best conference in college football, but that there are teams across college football that can and will compete every single year with teams in the SEC, and the failure to recognize is the fault of the SEC fans.
Boom. Jacob, your rebuttal. 30 seconds, sir.
Chayton, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure you're also Ohio State fan.
Yes. I'm not like Ryan, though. I'm different.
So you're not delusional. Okay, excellent. Right. Like I just said a moment ago, before the Big Ten and Ohio State and Rutgers and Northwestern and whomever, Iowa State and that whole crew of teams, before they come hollering at the SEC and those 11 national championships that we've had in the past several years.
Alabama's had.
The LSU, Auburn, Florida, then they can come holler at us. But until then, try to pass Miami, Florida State, Clemson, instead of produce give me Penn State or Michigan State to win a title. Or Michigan, let them be in the national championship. Just one team, just to go to the national. You ain't even got to win it. Just go to the national title game.
Just hop off Alabama's dick. Riding the SEC
President Trump,
SEC train because of fucking Alabama.
He's talking. Boys, that was entertaining. While that was going on, I didn't even want to interject. I was ordering Grubhub. Don't order Postmates. Yeah, that was good. Listen, my take. We'll just save it for next week. We needed to see that. The people wanted it. They wanted to see SEC, Big Ten square off. Ryan, real quick, as we kind of sign things out here. Nostradamus, Nystradamus, Rystradamus. Ryan, give your picks this week. Dog picks. You are 4-1. Your boy Che Booty's 2-2. I took it on the chin with taking the Ravens bet, so you are up on me on that one, sir. What are your picks?
1-0 versus you, also 1-0 versus Jacob, because I beat him in fantasy this week. Just going to throw that out there. Thanks to Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews.
Thanks to Mark Andrews. We'll blame him first.
But my picks this week, I've got the Bears plus 2.5 versus the Colts. I've got the Patriots plus 7 at the Chiefs. And I have the Browns plus 4.5 at Dallas. Dallas has given up 30 points plus a game. I'm confident that coming off of the first time in back-to-back games for, I don't even fucking know, ever probably, the Browns have scored over 30 points. That offense is starting to click a little bit more. I'm confident they can keep it relatively close with Dallas defensively as well and stay above that 4.5.
Rystradamus. So I took the opposite of you on your Chiefs game. That was just really dumb. I'm going to try to go double or nothing here. I'm taking the opposite of your Browns pick. I want the Cowboys. I'll take the opposite of that one. Dallas is going to take him to the woodshed and bend him over.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. All right. Nostradamus picks here. 2-2, off to a 50% start. The sucker bet of the week would be somebody taking the Saints. I got the Lions plus 4. Noodle arm Drew Brees is not going to get it done. Was exposed by Aaron Rodgers last week. They got nobody. If his name ain't Kareem Hunt or Michael Thomas, they got nothing. Taking the Lions plus 4. And Jacob, great minds must think alike, brother. I'm taking the Jaguars plus 3 against Joe Burrow. Oh, I get it, Joe Burrow.
Jags Nation.
Smoking Joe. He's going to get his first win. They've been competitive all these games. Not happening. Hey, that Robinson running back, really good to start the year, man.
Serious. He's real serious.
He's been real nice. So I'm looking at a
little chunk out there.
He is. Maurice Jones-Drew shades. Looking like him out there. What are your picks, brother?
So I got you Philly at San Fran. Ooh. So Philly's got to get that win this week. They're only a game or half game back. Got to first place in the NFC East, but they do have to win, and San Fran's beat up. Indy at Chicago. Nick Foles getting his first start officially. I believe in Big Stick Nick. Then my fellow Jags at CNC. Two horrible teams. Our offensive line is a little better than their offensive line, who is the worst. My lock of the week is the Bills at Raiders. I believe in Josh Allen. I think he is going to get it done. He does have weapons there. And my upset of the week is, my main upset is, I agree with you, with Mr. Wacky Inflatable Arm Flailing Two-Man, Drew Brees himself. Can't throw the ball more than 8 yards. Hot take, Jameis Winston would lead that team farther in the playoffs. Under the Sean Payton regime and play calling and all that, he would have Jameis right than Drew Brees would. Look at Teddy Bridgewater last year when 8-0, 9-0 when Drew Brees was out. Drew Brees come back and losing their first playoff game.
8-0 and 9-0. He went.
Did y'all like that casual?
He didn't play that many games. Now I'm going to go against y'all because I think the Saints will win.
Ooh, you said win. You said win, not 4.
Yeah. I mean, they're, -4?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just said win. I mean, they might win by field goal and we still cover. So you're taking the opposite side of that?
Yeah, I'm taking the opposite side.
Okay. Oh, we're on.
Same rules as what happened with us last week.
Why did I take the Ravens? I knew Patrick Mahomes was going to come out.
It was stupid.
They own them. Did you see Lamar Jackson after the game said they're our kryptonite? We can't beat them right now.
He should have blamed Mark Andrews.
That's why I have the Patriots +7 against the Chiefs, because the Patriots and Bill Belichick historically have been the Chiefs' kryptonite.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Chiefs haven't really beaten them in a significant game. So I think Cam Newton's playing well enough. I think their offense is playing well enough to beat the Chiefs.
Interesting pick.
And I think Bill Belichick is he knows how to operate against Andy Reid in that offense.
Reid's nasty. I want to say it right now too. The Chiefs own Lamar Jackson's head. So we get into the playoffs, and if it's a pick 'em or something like that, you bet the house on Kansas City. From that body language, he was pissed the entire game. And Andy Reid, and just really, Andy Reid is so underrated.
We can take as much time as we fucking want.
Andy Reid is so underrated as a head coach. It's unreal. Watching,
dude, his coaching tree is absurd.
It's insane. Yeah, watching that, he's faking screens out to the left and right and underhanded coming back to Kelsey and the fullback underneath. I haven't seen shit like this anymore. It's nuts. Andy Reid. We'll tease to next week. That's actually, I was working on something. I wanted to see how this Patriots game went, but controversial take next week coming from your boy. I'm hyped. It has to do with Andy Reid.
The sermon took a little longer,
but it was needed
than we had planned for. But you know what? It was just good. Look, Jacob, I appreciate your coming on and your points. As
Humbleness.
Always, no hard feelings here. Me being right, you being wrong. It's fine. It happens. Look, obviously, I mean, ask Chayton. It happens pretty frequently to him as well. But it's okay. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to just educate and
Ryan, I grew up in Tennessee.
Be that,
I'm out backwoods in West Virginia now, too. I love that you called it the sermon. Sometimes the sermon just goes on a little bit longer. You go on a Sunday afternoon, and sometimes preacher just starts preaching. It goes a half hour too long, and then you have dinner afterwards. So it's all good that it went. I wanted to get out of the way and let these two titans of industry go at it while I just sat back and enjoyed this week. So
tell it like it is, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So
we'll get some plugs, and then we'll be out of here. Don't forget, Sundays are for Red Zone. Join us every Sunday as we compete head-to-head in a 1-week best ball fantasy football matchup. We complete everything with the 8-5 drinking game, live reactions to all things Red Zone. Live stream can be found on Twitch by searching 85 yards, no spaces, or by going to 85yards.live. Additionally, 85 Yards is presented to you as part of the Buckeye Scoop Podcast Network. Jacob, I know you greatly enjoy the Buckeye Scoop Podcast Network.
Daily subscriber.
Of course. releasing prime OSU news and information week over week. It's an amazing collection of some of the best insiders in the game. Check them out at buckeyescoop.com. And if you're interested in listening to all of the fantastic podcasts on the Buckeye Scoop Podcast Network, just search Buckeye Scoop wherever you listen to podcasts. And lastly, 85 Yards comes to you remotely via Squadcast. If you've ever thought about starting your own podcast, look no further than Squadcast. When it comes to the ease of use, affordability, support, and most importantly, audio quality, Squadcast has set themselves apart from every other platform out there. If you're interested in trying them out for a 7-day free trial, be sure to check out the referral link in the episode description, and you won't be disappointed.
Good stuff, brother.
That's a mouthful, but thanks again for listening. Thanks again for joining us, Jacob. We will most definitely have you back regularly to debate and talk some trash. I'm sure we'll...
A man of the people for the people.
I'm sure this sermon will continue on and on and on for probably forever. At least until as long as...
Not the hero everyone deserves, but the hero they need. Right. That is me.
All right. Let's calm down on that here. Thanks again for listening to 85 Yards. If you like what you've heard, be sure to like, rate, download, and subscribe to 85 Yards for news and updates on all future content available wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Ryan McClintock, a.k.a. Boobs.
I'm Che Booty, Chayton. Good seeing you, boys.
I'm Daddy. I'll be back.
Papa. I like Papa better.
Papa.
It's not as weird to say.
Trust me.
Jacob. It's Jacob Papa Greenway.
The people want Daddy.
Certain people call you Daddy, but I will never call you Daddy. So, Jacob Papa Greenway, always a pleasure. Fellas, it's been real. Till next time.
Cheers, boys.
Deuces.
Cheers.